Mike Brookfield here. Welcome to part 2 on learning this Charlie Parker solo. We're looking at the Yardbird Suite solo. Last week I said I'd do like 8 bars a week, but actually I think we can do this in 3 weeks because just playing through it there, I think it's very doable. So that I just basically played what we're going to do today, and we're going to go over the chord progression as well. So you can, play the chords into a loop pedal. Maybe we should do that first. Looking at the chords simply. When I see C on a chart, like in the Charlie Parker Omni book, I usually either play a C6-9 or a C major 7. On a C6-9 or C major 7. And I approach pretty much all songs. This is a bit weird, but like as if how would Eric Clapton play them? You know what I mean? How would Eric Clapton think about playing Yardbird Suite? Maybe he wouldn't be that motivated by playing the solo note for note. Maybe that's not his thing. But like, say it was a song and he just wanted to play it, he'd just be thinking about the harmony in a much more functional kind of way. He's not thinking about like a jazz player about putting extensions on everything. If anything, he's going the other way and just making it more, kind of country bluesish, if you like. So there's elements in this chord progression which you can kind of relate to things like Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, that kind of thing where, like you got this in Yardbird Suite, but you've got, and then when he goes to D7, and that's what you do in this, you go to a D7, or you can play a D9 probably, and then like Charlie Parker's, is like a 2-5 to C, but like Nobody Knows You When You're Down Out, it's just a G to C. So there's a lot of relationships, and that's why I'm interested in learning things like, people say, why Charlie Parker, flipping heck, that's a bit mad, but it's it's, for me it's still quite closely related. It's all blues and jazz are just like, it's just music to me. It's not I don't really think about the the players and the kind of the difference in the kind of labels, if you like, that are put on them, and the intellectual kind of way that you maybe have to think about jazz. I think you can think about jazz in a much more organic kind of way, which is what I'm trying to kind of get to here. Is learn your scales and learn all your theory, but you've got to learn the solos note for note. Because no amount of running up and down scales and make you phrase like Charlie Parker or Eric Clapton, because we know that, just by learning Eric Clapton solo, there are no full-on scales. Now, like in jazz, there is kind of more scale fragments. You'll see by the shapes of the lines that he's going, you could say he's playing a scale there, but still, it's kind of not really the best way to approach it. So learning solos note for note is really where the good stuff lies, isn't it? So let's have a look at that chord progression there. So C6-9 or C major 7, you can play either one of them, and then you've got F minor to B flat 7, and then C7, B flat 7, A7. This is just a basic structure, by the way, that people use. If you analyze the recording, you'll see other stuff going on, but this is the kind of like the real book, Omni book kind of thing that people work off when they play at jam sessions and stuff. So by no means a definitive analysis of the harmony. It's just what people kind of play in a jazz context or a jam session context, if you like. So we did that rundown: C, B flat, A7, A7, D minor, G7, and then the first time you go E minor, A7, D minor, G7, and then repeat F minor, B flat, C7, B flat, A7, D7, D minor, G7, and C, B7, E minor, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7, E minor, A7. Second half of the middle 8, D minor, same pattern. E minor 7 flat 5, A7, D7, D minor, G7, and C major 7. F minor, B flat 7, C7, B flat 7, A7, D9, D minor, G7 and C, and then a quick D minor, G7. So, you know, what you might want to do is just put down 8 bars at a time or something, or just practice, you know, laying down those changes onto a loop pedal or something without dropping the ball. So that's the basic way of playing. You know, just think major, minor, dominant, minor 7 flat 5. There's 4 chord types in that whole song. Okay, so let's have a look at this solo. So last week we did I'll play that again. I'm playing a D minor 9 and G13 there. And then that signature lick. And then the next bit, so you've got a bar of C there, and the next phrase comes on the and of 4. 2, 3, 4. That's the next lick. 2, 3, 4. And you could think of that as a lick that's basically going F minor, C7. There's the target note. They just belong to F minor, and then you could say that's based on targeting the C7 chord. And then you've got this. So this is really heading into the A7 now, so he's going. So again, you'd think of that as just an A7 lick going to D minor, you know. You know, the targeting of the C sharp and the targeting of the A for the A. And then you could argue that's just a D minor lick. And then you've got a middle 8 section. Before that, I like to pop in a couple of chords, don't I? So from that lick again, I'm playing a C, the B7, and then I'm going to hit an E minor. Because that kind of really marks it, and then you can hear the structure of the song a bit more. So. So it's, you know, you could argue that he's playing up a E melodic minor and then chromatically approaching the B. Or you could say that's a chromatic approach into the E. There's different ways of analysing music. Some people analyse things more classically, you know, and think about the voice leading element, and then other people kind of analyse things more in context of the chords all the time and intervals, you know, which I kind of come from that school, having studied with Charlie Benakos for 9 years. You know, I have a particular way of looking at things because of that training in jazz that I got from him. But I don't get kind of my knickers in a twist if people analyse in different ways, as long as it's correct and it makes sense. You know, you can certainly look at things from different perspectives about how what choice why he played certain things, and we'll kind of never really know what was in his mind. But I suppose if you study this stuff enough, you'll see similarities and things come around a lot, so. So, and then I play an A7, and what I did for the demo is I didn't play any more of the solo because that's just where we're up to. So, so practice that much this week, and we're nearly there. There's one tricky line of about 4 bars, and the rest you're kind of home and dry then. So we're nearly there. So hang in there. For a Charlie Parker solo, that basically you can just practice for the rest of your life and say, yeah, I learned a Charlie Parker solo, and you're not kind of bluffing. You actually really did, and you will have a significant, I would say, shift in being able to hear bebop lines. If you play the solo over and over again, and then you start listening to the record, it's like putting it in high definition. You know what I mean? You start to really hear the music very, very differently, and it has a really positive effect on your technique and the way that you approach playing line-based improvisations, as opposed to kind of maybe feely stuff. Because most of my music is a mixture of that. I like to kind of play feely stuff, bending and sticking it in people's face, and then play kind of more thought out musical lines, if you like. And that combination for me is I quite enjoy. So here we go. So what we've got is this. Whoa. Where we're up to. So there you go, have fun with that, and I'll see you on the last one in this series next week.